Hello lovely people, welcome back to my channel and I hope you are all doing well. My name is Grace Opare, you can simply call me Grace, and on this channel I share information on living and studying in Canada. If you want to come to Canada as an international student to study, this is the channel you should be watching. In today's video, I do not have good news for you. The Federal Workers of Canada are going on strike. Indeed, Ircc is going on strike, and it is going to have a major impact on people both in Canada and outside Canada. In this video, I'm going to bring to you some of the effects that this strike is going to have on visa application processes, on those living in Canada and those outside Canada. So if you are interested in knowing more about it, kindly stay tuned, stick around and watch till the end of this video. The Ircc is on strike. And what is Ircc? Ircc simply means Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada. This is the Department of Canada that is responsible for all the immigration issues for the government of Canada. They are responsible for processing visa applications, issuing visas, processing all kind of passports and any other services, any other immigration services for the government of Canada. So if Ircc is on strike, it means that it is going to affect all these services that the Ircc renders to the government of Canada. By this time of the year, you are preparing to submit your applications. Schools have released their admission offers. People are excited about it. They are putting in all their efforts to put in their applications. Then suddenly this strike is announced. You are confused, you are jittery, you don't know how this is going to affect your journey, how this is going to affect your visa application process. So in this video, I am going to break it down for you, that what to expect as Ircc is on strike from today, 20th April. There is no definite date or timeline as to when this strike is going to come to an end. But whichever way, we still need to know how this is going to affect people and how we are going to handle things moving forward. Okay, so let's look at the impact of this strike on people living in Canada. If you are an international student in Canada and your study permit has expired, you have the opportunity to extend your study permit visa whilst here in Canada. With the coming of the strike in force, it means that there is going to be a delay in your study permit extension visa application. For international students who graduate in Canada, there is the opportunity for you to apply for your postgraduate work permit. This postgraduate work permit allows international students who have graduated from their studies to apply for permits to stay and work in Canada for 2 to 3 years. With this strike in force, it is going to distract these services, and the major impact is that it is going to delay the processing of your postgraduate work permit. If you have already secured your postgraduate work permit and you are eligible for citizenship, this strike is also going to have an impact on your citizenship application. That is, there is going to be a delay in your citizenship application, getting a decision on it, right? Already there is so much backlog, beginning from the year 2020 when COVID was in force and Ircc staff were no longer working. There was so much backlog of applications that Ircc had to deal with when COVID restrictions were lifted. God being so good, some of these backlogs have been cleared. Things were beginning to fall in place and people were beginning to receive quick decisions on their applications. Then suddenly this strike is being announced. So you need to expect long processing times now that the Ircc is actually on strike. For those of you who are outside Canada preparing to put in your visa applications, do not be discouraged. Okay, although Ircc is still on strike, some services are still going to be available to you. For instance, you can still do your online applications. So if you have started your online study permit application and you have created your GC account, you do not have to stop. You go ahead and put in your application because the online portal is still opened for you. If you have also already created your online portal and have probably submitted your application, the online portal is still going to be open for you to access your application. So if you need to add any information, you are still going to be able to access it. The unfortunate thing and the major impact this is going to have on those of us living outside Canada is that it is going to prolong the processing times. So please bear in mind that whilst you are submitting your online applications, processing of your study permit application is not going to be immediate. It is not going to be immediate. Rather, expect long processing times since Ircc is on strike. Nonetheless, it is very good that you submit your application. The reason is that when the strike is resumed, which we all expect it to be soon, and they begin to start working on the applications that they have received, you can be a bit assured that your application may be part of the earlier ones that they work on. So whilst you are preparing to submit your application and you know that Ircc is on strike and you are expecting long processing times, one thing you can do is that you should be preparing your mind to defer your course if it becomes necessary. Okay, so now that you know Ircc is on strike, you may be wondering, what are the options available to me? Do I need to stop my application? There's going to be a lot of rumors, a lot of confusion. I am here to tell you that no, you need to continue with your application. If you have started your application, you need to complete and submit it. If you haven't started, you need to start, complete and submit it. This is because Ircc has announced that all the online platforms are still going to be accessible to its customers. You are still going to have access to the Ircc website. You can still create your application account and you can still submit your application forms. So you don't need to halt your application process. Okay, and the good thing is that once you submit your application, you can be assured that immediately Ircc resumes from a strike, you are probably going to be, your application is probably going to be part of the early ones they attend to. You understand? So if you stop the application and then you wait that you are going to do your application when Ircc resumes, but then a lot of applications would have already been submitted and the processing time for your application is going to be even much longer than if you had submitted earlier. So as I have earlier indicated, you need to go on and submit your application. If you are lucky enough, when Ircc resumes, you may be part of the early people that, or the early applications that will be processed, and you may be able to come to Canada to start your school in time. What if you do not receive any decision on your application by the time your school begins? You may be wondering, what do I do then? What is the next step? Okay, so in such situation, the advice that I will give to you is that you may consider to defer your course. It is always, there is always the opportunity for a student who has been offered an admission to study in a school to defer his or her course for one or two reasons. So in this situation where Ircc has delayed in processing your application and your school has commenced, the best option will be to defer your course to the next academic year. hopefully by the time your deferral period is due, you would have received a decision on your application from Ircc to commence your study. If you defer your studies, the good thing is that you still have your admission offer, right? And you don't need to do any other application. But if you do not defer your course and you do not inform your school about why you have not deferred, you stand a chance of losing your admission offer. So whilst you are waiting for Ircc to get back to you, the time is fast approaching, your school has already begun or is about to begin, and you haven't heard anything from them. Go ahead, defer your course to the next academic year, and then you can begin your school in the next academic year, right? So in summary, I am giving you the news that Ircc is on strike. Ircc is the organization or the department of the Canadian government that is going to be responsible for processing your study permit visa applications. What this means is that there is going to be long waiting and processing times for your visa application. Canada, in general, it's notably one of the countries with the longest processing times. So if Ircc is on strike, it means that things are going to take much longer period than it usually do. So please prepare your mind that as you submit your application, you are going to have to wait for a very long time. So be well prepared. These waiting times can be very frustrating. Sometimes you check your account, you are expecting to see an update on your status or a response from Ircc or a decision on your application, and then there's nothing for you to update yourself with. And this can disrupt your plans, it can frustrate you. I don't know how to describe it, but it can be very, very depressing. So be well prepared for these moments. And also make the option of deferring your course open. Should it happen that you do not get a decision earlier enough, be prepared to defer your course so that you can still have your admission offer intact for the next academic year. Sean Fraser, the minister responsible for immigration issues in Canada, has announced that he's going to give regular updates on the course of the strike. And I will be giving you regular updates on the course of the strike as the days go by. So stay tuned and stay glued. I'm going to update you on whatever decision or whatever new things that come up as a result of this strike. So go ahead, submit your applications, but be prepared for long waiting times. Thank you very much for watching. Kindly like and subscribe to this channel.